People with anxiety brain. As a survival mechanism, responding to potential dangers and stressful stimuli is natural. But anxiety becomes a disease when a person can't differentiate from a stressful stimulus and a neutral or a non-stressful one. An anxious person responds even to innocent situations such as coming across an anonymous gifted cupcake on their work desk. Why would someone put a cupcake there? Is someone trying to poison me? Where has this cupcake been? They consider it as a threat, because of paranoid thinking, which results in stress and worry. Whereas a non-anxious person will eat the cupcake without a stressful thought, and perhaps even see it as a pleasant stimulus. According to a study out of the Weizmann Institute of Science in Israel, the brains of anxiety sufferers may have completely different wiring than people who don't have this mental disorder. The study published in the Cell Press journal Current Biology on 3 March 2016. Roni Paz, Department of Neurobiology, of Weizmann Institute of Science, Israel is the author. People with an anxiety disorder are somewhat like a worrisome outsider to the average laid-back person, but the research backs this up by digging into the brain mechanisms that make them feel different. It turns out that something known as overgeneralization is to blame for the unique brain of anxiety sufferers. The overgeneralization of fear to harmless stimuli or situations is a burden to daily life and characteristic of post-traumatic stress disorder and other anxiety disorders. In the present study, the researchers came to a similar conclusion after watching the participants distinguishing between different sounds of tones. The anxious people had a perceptual inability to discriminate. During the experiment, the researchers also measured brain responses with functional magnetic resonance images. They found that anxious people had different responses in the amygdala than non-anxious people. The increased activity in the amygdala, which is involved in the regulation of anxiety, emotional behavior, and motivation, has been associated with panic attacks and anxiety disorders. The researchers label the changes in anxiety brains as plastic, referring to the brain's flexibility to grow, build, or decrease neural networks based on lifestyle and mindset. In patients with anxiety, emotional experience induces plasticity in brain circuits that lasts after the experience is over. Such plastic changes occur in primary circuits that later mediate the response to new stimuli, resulting in an inability to discriminate between the original experienced stimulus and a new similar stimulus. Therefore, anxiety patients respond emotionally to such new stimuli as well, resulting in anxiety even in apparently irrelevant new situations. The most telling fact is that anxiety sufferers cannot control this, as it is a perceptual inability to discriminate. Anxiety affects different parts of the brain, of course, and overgeneralization isn't the only feature of an anxious person's brain. A lot occurs in the brain during anxiety or in more acute panic attacks, much of which scientists still don't fully understand. It also depends on the type of anxiety disorder: Thier's generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and social anxiety disorder. The brains of anxious people are better equipped to respond to danger, as they are more sensitive to threat signals. Indeed, the occasional activation of the fight-or-flight response is beneficial evolutionarily. Yet an emotional event, even minor sometimes, can induce brain changes that might lead to full-blown anxiety. Fortunately, anxiety can be cured through lifestyle changes, cognitive behavioral therapy, and sometimes medication. A 2014 study found that exercise actually changed people's outlooks on life, particularly for those with social anxiety. So, if you have begun to feel a little overwhelmed by your anxious brain, implement an exercise schedule and allow your brain to build new channels and associations. Thank you.